Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Welcome back to America's Heroes Group. This time a roundtable with our sponsor and partner, RHF Ninja Warrior Competition. Happy New Year, America. Saturday, January 7th, 2023. January is Cervical Cancer Awareness and National Blood Donor Month. Our host is Kelley. I'm Sean Clement, the co-host. Our executive producer is Glenda Smith, and our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scouts Honor Productions. And you are going to hear a familiar voice again. Darren Jeffrey is a founding board member of RHF and also the original course creator for and builder for the TV show American Ninja Warrior on NBC. He has a panelist today with us. That is Trabue Blend. He is the vice president and of the RHF board and part of the RHF board of directors. We're going to talk about the RHF 2003 agenda. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Good to hear from you, Sean. It's a huge honor to be on the program, and it's good to be here with my buddy Darren. So, I know I'm batting cleanup for my for my friend Josh, who was on a couple of podcasts ago. So, what I'd like to do before we start off is I want all the listeners out there to take a second and actually like my podcast more, because what I want to do is at the end of this podcast, I'm going to go back to him and go, we're pretty competitive, and say, hey, mine was better.
So, audience, go out there and make it known which one you like.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no competition amongst our team at RHF. No, that's for sure.
Well, competition or cooperation, one or the other works sometimes, you know. So.
Exactly. So, but it's a real pleasure to be on the show, and I appreciate the time.
I like your name, Trabue. That means, I think it's in Spanish, I believe. It means tribe.
That would be interesting. I think it's actually French. It's an old family name that my family cursed me with. I mean, so my last name is Bland, right? Which is kind of a boring name. And my grandfather wanted to name me just Sam Bland, which might have been the most boring name ever conceived. And
that could be a catchphrase.
So my mom stepped in there and said, no, she whipped this whole list of names and found one, Trabue, which is great. So it's I know that when someone is calling me that because they usually mispronounce it, I'm like, okay, that's me. There's no other views in the room.
I actually Googled you and the pronunciation thing, and it mispronounces your name.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, anything with a T works.
So we'll have to get some of our friends over at Google to take a second look at their dictionary there.
So what do you do at RHF? What do you bring into the table for the organization, and what is some of the things that make you passionate about this project? Because the Rick Harriman Foundation has done so many great things for veterans and building the courses, and also giving families a way to kind of have fun and interact with each other and kind of connect and have community, so to speak. So what are some of the things you're working on, and what do you do with the organization directly?
Sure. So it's a great question. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I'm Senior Vice President of Futures Exchanges at a company called ICE, or Intercontinental Exchange, and we're publicly traded. You might have heard of us because we own the New York Stock Exchange, and I run all the futures exchanges for that. I actually used to run the exchange for the people that are a little bit older in the audience. That Trading Places was filmed in. So I still have the frozen concentrated orange juice contract. One of the most accurate movies out there about finance. But my background is in finance. I've worked at ICE for 15 years. I started off as a really small company in Atlanta, Georgia. And I joined when they were still pretty small, and we've grown over time, which has been a really interesting process. And I worked in Atlanta for 8 years, and then moved to New York because the company decided to move me someplace that's colder and more expensive. and about 5 years ago. So I was living in New York, and I met Josh at an event just randomly. I think we had one mutual friend in common. And I know that the listeners here that listen to Josh, he's an amazing guy, White House fellow now, and he was doing a master's degree at Columbia. And so we became friends after that. And he sent me a text, and I still have this text on my phone that said, "Hey, I've got this charity, and I need some help, going out and fundraising for it around New York." And I was just like Josh, and he told me about Rick Harriman, and I know he gave a little bit of background on Rick, but he's just an amazing guy, and it's a really, really cool charity. And so I did fundraising for the first one of the early ninja competitions, and then after that, Josh asked me to join the board. I joined the board, and then later he asked me when he rolled off to be the head of the board. So right now I'm the chair, the president of the board of directors there, which means I try to set a lot of the strategy for RHF and making sure that we're all going down and on the same path. We have a great board of directors, and it's a great charity. And the reason I was brought into it, so my first time down there, and when I met Darren in person, I was just really, really amazed about how it had an effect on all these military families. And then Josh told me, what he was trying to do is like all these people with this massive amount of expertise are all leaving the military. They're leaving the military because they can't. It's while there's family resources in the military, it's not that great. Right. And it's like I wanted to build
military that are veterans are on public assistance.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'm trying to build this thing where people can keep their families together, and for families to go to, and we can make sure that the soldiers can stay in the field. And I was like, that's amazing. And when I saw it, and I asked all your listeners, if you get a chance and you're in Fort Bragg, to go see what we've done there, what Josh and Darren have done there. It's really, really inspiring. And so we do a lot of family activities there. And I was like, this is different. And it is. It's a very unique charity. And I'm like, I think we can build something bigger out of this and actually take this across the country. Mm-hmm. To be fantastic. And I think it would actually be pretty good for the military itself, because we don't need all this expertise walking out the door, and they're walking out the door not because they don't like their job, it's because their job isn't meeting the demands of the family.
Right. So what is your experience with an obstacle course? What's the thing you hate about obstacle courses? What do you love about obstacle courses?
Well, so the first thing I hate about this, so I'm like I said at the beginning of this at the beginning of the show, I'm pretty competitive. And I hate Darren has made such a hard obstacle course. I'm a death-bound dude, and so his courses are way too hard for me. Then I get out there and I see it and I get mad about it, and I'm like, and then after the ninja competition, I go and work out like a crazy man for a little while. I'm like, I'm going to come back there and dominate that thing. But it's not really for me. So my kids will run through it. They love it, and Josh will dominate it, which also makes me mad. And Dan will talk about how easy it is, which is not. But it's when I'm out there, it's so cool because there's so many military, families out there. They're cheering on people. You'll see all kinds of people come in there and just do really well. We had a Vietnam veteran a couple of years ago. And then this guy, you saw him on the street, you're like, he's ancient. He's probably going to need a walker in a year. That guy came out there and owned that course. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Well, he was actually on the show, believe it or not, about 3 years prior to him coming out to Rick's place and running our course. He was actually on our television show course for NBC, wow. And so and I think they called him Grandpa Ninja. But again, real humble guy, just comes walking in a little rickety looking, and he puts the hammer down, we run about a 95% failure rate really? on our elite course that we built. We have 3 obstacle courses that we build at Rick's place, right outside of Fort Bragg. We have 55 acres there. That's all developed as a park and a campus. And so we come out and dig pits in the ground and fill them full of water. And we have a kids course. We have an intermediate course, which is side by side, so the intermediates can race against each other. And then we have the elite course, which is also over water, and that's a side by side twin course. So it's the only place in America where you can come and get on a Ninja Warrior course that's a true Ninja Warrior course, and I'll define that. If it's over pads, you're practicing. If it's over water, it's the real deal. That's it.
Wow.
So we're the only place that we have that. So to watch Josh come out and just hammer through the course, and he's in that 5%. And there's a handful of other guys, too, and gals that do really well. But, yeah, it's not set up to make you feel like a rock star, when you walk away.
Yeah, but still, Darren will make me feel bad, because most times I'm out there to smooth people and talk to people because I'm on the board. But he's like, yeah, you could probably do that. I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, we got a towel for you. Well, we've definitely got a towel waiting there for you if you need it.
Exactly.
What exercises would you recommend to get you in shape?
I would love for you to come out there, Sean. It would be.
I plan to.
Yeah, and so
good.
There or whatever. But when you're out there, and so Ninja is just one of the many things we do out there. But when you're out there, Sean, you're just like you're just seeing all these families having fun. I mean, we have like kids events and we have food trucks and all that around this particular event. But we do this a lot, not just American Ninja. We do, we'll do a barn bash, and Darren actually built a kind of a Biggest Loser type of course out there for that, which was really cool. But like any given week, we're doing kind of cool stuff out there. We're doing movie nights and yoga and messy Mondays with art. And you just see these families going out there and having fun. And we're building trails out there. So any of your listeners who are like Scrooge McDuck and sitting on a big pot of money, we're raising money for those trails. Trails all going around there. It's really cool, and it's great to be outside. And for a lot of people, it's great just to be off base.
So this is also an opportunity for people around the country to travel, maybe take a vacation, because around military bases, there's usually a bunch of hotels. Usually, there's places where families could stay, and things like that are in the military, or maybe not in the military. So people that are familiar with some of the bases and forts around the country, we know where to go and think, like I know where to go in around Fort Jackson. Head back, maybe head to Fort Bragg, and then take your family and maybe make a vacation out of it. Maybe spend a week down there, because a lot of our bases are in beautiful parts of the country we don't realize. You're around nature. They're built in almost like you're in a national park when you actually take a step back and look at where these places are. But I saw some of the most beautiful skies in Fort McCoy. I saw beautiful trees and mountains and hills. Not mountains, but these hills are almost like mountains. And South Carolina, which I never even thought about that. There's like mountains in South Carolina. You can see almost the whole state. It feels like. There's beautiful things, and being close to nature. If you're an outdoors person, I think it's a great opportunity to take your family, especially your kids, and get a chance to connect and maybe decompress a little bit and do something physical, because that's one thing that, when you get out of the military, sometimes staying in shape is difficult. Just getting a chance to do those things again. If I want to train, though, for an obstacle course, what do I do?
So rock climbing.
That's Darren's thing, but I can tell you what not to do. Don't sit around in a chair working for a couple months and then like, okay, I'm gonna go out and own that thing. That's what not to do. But I'll let Darren chime in on what to do.
Right. So at the end of the day, mental confidence is the number one aptitude. Physical ability. If you want, rock climbing, go to your indoor rock climbing gyms. If you can get outdoors and climb outdoors, rock climbing is an amazing piece between the mind and the body. So rock climbers, develop confidence as they get better at climbing. And so that really works well in ninja. But then martial artists do very well. Dancers do very well. It really just anybody that specializes in motion and movement in your workout, even just if you're a long distance runner, anything that involves motion and movement, and then obviously the more dynamic the movement, like dancing and climbing. Martial artists, if you participate in martial art at any level, you're going to have the mental competence piece and the physical piece. So it's really and that's what's so exciting about having an intermediate course, because when you see the television show, there is no intermediate course over water. It's the real deal. So, but for us, we've got the kids course and the intermediate course. So this is a place, it's the only place in the world where you can touch my work that's not been on television. I mean, this is the only place that I build the ninja course for, is at RHF. And so the kids come out and they get to stand at a starting line for an obstacle course that is only up for a few weeks a year, and it's the real deal for them. So it's really an honor to see these youngsters get in line and do well and not do well. So year after year.
And note, Sean, that he didn't say for you and me, he didn't say finance executives. That's not great preparation for it.
I usually kind of get fat and get beer belly. Usually ends up having the guys like us. But so one thing you do, and I'm gonna mess up your name again. Trabue, but it's really Trabue. So Trabue. Yeah. All right. So Mr. Bland. So when you meet with, when you talk to people and you talk to families, what are some of the things you do to encourage them to be more well-rounded, holistic, to improve their lives, not just in one area or another, but all around? What are the areas you touch on, and what do you say to people to try to help them? What advice can you give people and families?
Well, I mean, and this is what RHF does is part of it's just time. You want to spend time with your family. That's how all the bonds, are built. And when you have a chance to, I mean, we're all busy, and a lot of your listeners are in the military, and that's so they're deployed. But when you get back, you got to spend that time with your family, and you think of it as an investment, right? It's like Sean, like you and I talk about. It's an investment, and you're investing in your kids, and you're investing in that relationship. So when they get older, they're set with your standards and your morals, and they can use that to grow as well. I think that's really important. It's hard to do, and so bring it back to RHF. I mean, one of the things we do is just have people out there just spending fun time together. Just you're not in front of the TV, you're not on the Xbox, you're just outside and doing fun stuff.
I think that's really important. I think that's really powerful information, because you're tying everything together. Just like what Darren mentioned, it's the mental, but it's also the physical. It's both. So, and using the mental and the physical, tying them together through obstacle courses, but really it's about just doing something with the family together in a community setting that's fun and challenging. It gets your mind off all the other stuff. When you're doing something that's challenging, especially with your body, you kind of, all the other stuff and all the other noise in your life kind of fades away, because you got to focus on what you're doing at that moment, right there, right then. Particularly if it's something that might be a little bit scary. Everything else just drops off the face of the earth. You got to focus on what you're doing at that moment. And then if you're doing it together as a family, it's like being in a unit. that bonds you in a certain kind of way. Having a battle buddy, having somebody that's there with you through thick and thin, somebody you have to work with, maybe someone you didn't want to work with at the beginning, but then all of a sudden, when you need each other, you find out, man, I'm glad that guy was there for me. Glad my brother was there for me. I'm glad my sister was there for me. I think that's really powerful.
That's right, Sean. I mean, that's exactly right. It's hard to do a hike or go walk through the woods or do a ninja course or do yoga, surf an Instagram on your phone. You can't do it. So you have to be present.
Or walking a straight wire on Instagram.
Right.
Trying to do a selfie while you're on the tightrope.
Well, one of the big things that Trabue and I both enjoy being on the board is that we've got 55 acres 4 minutes away from the front gates of Fort Bragg, and so we basically say, what kind of programs can we bring to the property that are available to families so that they can have those, just duck out of life for a few minutes, that they don't have to pack up the car and drive. It's not a vacation. There's not logistics. It's not a thing. It can be incorporated into their day. Duck away to the property and engage in a number of activities that are going on out there. I mean, we have a system of tree houses out there that are up right now, that are up full time, that, the kids just take off and run to the tree houses, and the parents go sit at picnic tables or take long walks around the property by the lake, and, that sort of thing. So, it really is about how we can take these wonderful opportunities and programs and get them into these time-stamped moments where we're not, it doesn't take a day and a half, or a weekend to coordinate the family time. Mm-hmm. And that's what's exciting for us about when we talk about scaling out and going to other bases around America that deal with, routine combat deployment. That's really the excitement of RHF. So any of the listeners out there that want to get behind this and help fund and support and develop programs and then help get us scaled out to other bases, please reach out to us so we can get those conversations started.
Mm-hmm. And then can people donate across the country to your website, through your website?
We will take we'll take anything, and it's all we're the highest level of on any donor website you look at. We spend the money that you give us, and we use it on our programs, and you could actually see where your money goes when you go out to that.
Right. None of our board members are paid. We don't have paid board members. We have staff that we have to maintain and pay, but the board members, everybody's working at this thing at the same rate, just so everyone's aware of that.
So how can people donate? What's the website or the information they need to give you guys a boost?
Sure. It's www.rhfnow.org, rhfnow.org.
And if you mention that you're encouraged by my particular appearance on this show and not Josh's, that would be super helpful.
Go out there and vote, guys.
Yeah.
Petition. Let it be known.
Oh, that's classy.
Josh is going to listen to that. He's going to come up here, and it's not going to be good for me.
So what from both of you guys, what final words of wisdom do you have to military families?
Well, my first thing is thank you. I mean, thank you for making the sacrifice, and thank you for doing what you do. Our goal is to build an RHF, facility at every base. That's what we want to do. Get out there and keep the family together. I mean, we'll be there at some point, but we're not going to be there right now. But it doesn't mean that you can't spend time, when you're away from your job and spend that quality time with your family.
And Mr. Bland?
Yeah.
You can go back with the Trabue.
No Trabue.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Who did
and
I
I
just
just
Darren
like
that said that, or is that Mr. Trabue?
Trabue.
Mr. Trabue is, I don't know who that is, but you can call me Trabue. I tried T-Bone, just like George Costanza, no one will take it.
But I do share that vision. I think if we can use America's Heroes Group and use our podcast, use our radio presence, use all the media outlets that we participate on. We have print media, everything going on. If we can get the word out and try to get more veterans behind this and more service members behind this, and even our connections and some of the leadership in the military and in government, to try to get this vision off the ground, that'd be really powerful. I appreciate you guys for your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no,
it's a pleasure, bud.
It's an honor.
Okay, I'm gonna butcher your name one last time.
Go ahead.
Trabue?
Got it.
Mr. Trabue, so many times I
Trabue's
can get it
kind of
right.
cool. I grew up near Louisiana, so I could take that one too.
Guys, thanks a lot for your time. We'll have you back on the show soon. This is America's Heroes Group.
Awesome.
We'll be right back.
Thanks, Sean.